Callie. Come here. Dogs, come lay down. Callie, come here. Come on. Put one of the big buckets behind in front of the gate. Yeah, the ones that you guys packed your stuff in. Go to bed. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know what that is. Stop playing with that. There's nothing there. Go to bed.
Hello.
Hi. Okay, go back. Go to bed. No, I need another one. Come on, make it work. All right, love you guys. Love you, Mama. Hola, ¿cómo están?
Muy bien, gracias.
Muy bien. Here we are on our last language lab for the quarter. Are you guys as excited as I am? Am I the only one that's excited?
I have mixed feelings. I like
Aw,
so
it's bittersweet.
yeah, but it means it's closer to summer, right? So that's
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah, I'm ready for, oh, I'm so ready for summer. I'm so ready for the end of this pandemic. And I'm ready for the end of this school year and this chapter in my life of living in Texas to all be behind me. Very excited for what's to come. Goodness. There's a lot of people here tonight. Maybe because it's the last one. So we're gonna get through all of chapter 9 tonight. Shouldn't be a problem. I do it every quarter. I do chapter 9 in one language lab. And then there is a review video for the final exam. I unlocked I published it, or whatever you want to call it, the final exam today. with the review video. So definitely want to check that out. You can watch it whenever you want. Like, you don't have to wait until you're ready to take the final. I would say watch it before you start studying, because in my video, I tell you everything that's on the exam and exactly what you need to study. So I'm pretty candid about it. So definitely want to check that out. Let's see. How's everybody's Monday going? Y'all
Muy
having a
bien.
good Monday? Good. I'm having a super Monday. Like, it's just one of those days where everything goes wrong. So I'll be glad when it's Tuesday and it's no longer this crappy Monday. Still missing someone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Who did I not write down? Elijah, got Tessa. All right, so let's do it. Chapter 9, here we go. So there are 3 grammar topics to go over for chapter 9, and the first 2 are kind of related. So back in chapter 7, we learned the direct object pronouns. Why did I just do that? The direct object pronouns were when the sentence had a what. You asked yourself, so what's the what? The what? We figured out what the what was. I like pizza. I like what? She has a car. She has a what? They they have a dog. They have a what? And then we replaced that what with a pronoun, and we figured out what pronoun we needed based on if the what was a masculine noun, a feminine noun, singular, or plural. Remember that? You remember, right? Do you remember? All right, so this is very similar. It's the indirect object pronouns. So the indirect object pronouns, they don't answer the what, but they answer to who. Because for us to use these pronouns, the verb has to be happening to or for a person. So the indirect object pronouns that we can use with our verbs are may, if the verb is happening to me or for me, te, if it's happening to you or for you, le for him, her, or you formal, like you said, nos for us, os for y'all, and les if the verb is happening to them or for them. So me, te, le, nos, os, and les, the indirect object pronouns should look very familiar to you, because these guys are the ones we use with the verb gustar. Me gusta, te gusta, le gusta, nos gusta, os gusta, les gusta. And there's a really good reason for that. If I was the person who taught you the verb gustar last quarter, sorry, I tell my students that the verb gustar does not mean to like. It doesn't mean I like pizza. It means pizza is pleasing to me. Or dogs. It's not I like dogs. It means dogs please me. And the reason that we use these indirect object pronouns with the verb gustar is because it literally means to be pleasing to. And you have to tell us who it's pleasing to. It's pleasing to me, or it's pleasing to her, it's pleasing to him, or to them. Something is pleasing to somebody. So you absolutely have to use these little indirect object pronouns with that verb, because without it, it literally is just like saying pizza is pleasing to, or Spanish is pleasing to. And you have to tell the listener or the reader who it's pleasing to. But we can use these indirect object pronouns with other verbs besides gustar. So let me show you how it works, what it looks like. Te compro flores. I buy flowers. I buy them for who? I buy them for you. Te compro. I buy flowers. For who? For you. Les hablo. I talk. Who do I talk to? I talk to them. Les hablo. Juan me compra un regalo. Juan buys me a present. Ella le escribe una carta. She writes him a letter. Okay, so let me just point something out, and it may be obvious to you, but if it's not obvious to you, because it wasn't obvious to me when I was first learning, I actually was never explicitly taught this kind of grammatical thing, and it took me a really long time to like fully understand it because it was never taught to me. I took a lot of like conversational grammar or Spanish classes, but I didn't take, my Spanish teacher wasn't great at teaching grammar. So, so it was really confusing to me. The verb in these sentences is the person doing the action. I mean, like duh, like obvious, but like I buy the flowers. This is me buying the flowers. Who am I buying the flowers for? I'm doing the paying. I get the flowers, but the flowers are for you. So the indirect object pronoun is the person who receives the action of the verb, who the verb is happening to or for. I talk, so the verb is conjugated in the yo form because I'm doing the talking. Who am I talking to? I'm talking to them. So the les stands for them. Juan me compra un regalo. In this sentence, the verb comprar is conjugated for Juan. He's the one doing the buying. He bought the present. Who did he buy it for? He bought it for me. I guess for me, I always like struggled with like it's me compra, why isn't it in the yo form? Or les hablo, why isn't it in the ellos form? It's because that person or people is not doing the verb. Conjugate the verb for the person who's verbing. The indirect object pronoun represents who the verb is happening to or for. Ella le escribe una carta. She writes a letter to who? To him. Okay, and you probably already noticed that these indirect object pronouns, just like the direct object pronouns, are plopped right before the conjugated verb. So that's where we place them in the sentence. Okay, it's actually super easy once it's explained. Hopefully explained well, I don't know. Okay, so here's how we're gonna practice with these. There's a question, and I'm gonna first ask you, who's the verb happening to or for? We're gonna figure out who it's happening to or for, and then you're gonna tell me which pronoun, either me, te, le, nos, os, or les, we're gonna use in the answer. And then you're gonna answer using the indirect object pronoun plopped right before the verb, just like we did with the direct object pronouns. So, ¿ayudas a Roberto con la tarea? So Emily, who are you helping? Do you help? Who do you help?
Roberto.
Roberto, right? So if we're going to replace Roberto with an indirect object pronoun, which one are we going to replace him with?
I'm looking at my notes. 1 second.
Sure.
Le.
Le, right? Him. So do you help Robert with the homework? So now when you answer, you're either going to say, hopefully, yes, you do help him. And then you're going to put the le before this verb conjugated in the yo form. So go ahead, Emily. ¿Ayudas a Roberto con la tarea?
Sí, le ayudo. Do I say con la tarea at the end or?
You can. Yep. You don't have to. Sí, le ayudo. Because kind of the whole point of this, just like the direct object pronouns, is to not be so robotic and repetitive. So, ¿ayudas a Roberto con la tarea? Sí, le ayudo. Yes, I help him. Perfect. ¿Me escribes un email? So with these, when the question is asking if it happens to me, let me just ask you this question in English. Do you write me an email? How would you answer it in a complete sentence besides just like yes? Do you write me an email?
Yes, I'm writing you an email.
Right. Yes, I write you an email. So sometimes my students find it helpful if I make this little chart, because with indirect object pronouns, when the question is asking if it happens to me, the answer is going to be te. Yeah, I do it to you. Do you verb me? yeah, I verb you. And vice versa. If the question is, does this happen to you? The answer is, yeah, it happens to me. So keep that in mind. Okay, so if the question is, does the verb happen to me? The answer is going to be, yeah, the verb happens to you. Or does the verb happen to you? Yeah, the verb happens to me. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. Like this one. Daniela, ¿me escribes un email? How would you answer?
Would it be te escribo?
Yes. Te escribo un email. We'll just put that there. Do you write me an email? I write you an email. Perfect. Muy bien. ¿Das un regalo a tu mamá para Navidad? Elijah, who's the verb happening to or for? Elijah, are you there?
Sorry, I think I was on mute.
Yeah.
Is it happening to my mother?
It's happening to your mother, right? So what are you going to replace her with?
Lay?
Le. Excelente. So I'm not sure if you remember how to write this verb in the yo form. Do you know it? I can help you.
No, I don't.
Okay, it's the verb to give. Das, do you give a present to your mom? So the yo form is doy. D-O-Y. Mhm. So go ahead, plop that indirect object pronoun. Hopefully the answer is yes.
Si, le, doy. Would I say the un regalo as well?
Yeah, I mean, you
Un
can say,
regalo mi madre?
okay, you do not need a mi madre. That's
Okay.
redundant, right? Because the le represents
Oh, okay.
her. I give,
Okay,
that's like saying, yes, I give her a present to my mom, right?
okay.
You don't need both. So we're taking that to my mom out and we're putting the le doy instead. Si le doy un regalo. Good. Muy bien.
Can I ask a question really quick?
Yeah, do.
So why is it lay instead of la?
Because la means it. Le
okay.
means her.
Oh,
La stands for a something, whereas le stands for a person.
okay. I was thinking that la was feminine for some reason. Okay.
Yeah, and actually, Abigail, that is a really, 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 really common error, even among like native speakers, like to plop a la before the verb when it happens to a female. Super common, but grammatically it should be lay. If it's happening to a person, it should be lay for he or she or it. Well,
Okay.
not it, but he or she, I suppose.
So lay would translate as
She,
her or him. Yeah.
or him.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Same
the
as-
same,
okay.
the same pronoun for both.
Mhm.
There you go. Spanish was gender neutral. Actually, Spanish is extremely gender specific. It's only now starting to have gender neutral language included. But for this example, lay is he, her, or lay is him. Okay. Llamas a tu amigo antes de salir. Daniel, this one's for you. So who is this happening to or for?
Your
Oh, Daniel with the crappy
To-
connection, Mike. What'd you say?
your friend, I think.
Your
it-
friend,
like,
right?
to
Your amigo, tu amigo. And what are you gonna
specifically,
replace amigo with?
Lay.
Le, muy bien. So
Right.
go ahead and answer.
Would it be si le
Here's your verb, put it in the yo form.
si le lamas? Or
Put it in the yo form.
Um,
It's llamo. Llamo means to
oh,
call,
llama,
right?
sorry.
What does me llamo mean? Also, if you had me for Spanish 1, 2, and 1, I
Ah.
was very specific about how I taught me llamo. It doesn't mean my name is.
My Spanish teacher did not teach me that very actually. I got that confused a lot.
Well, now it
Like,
should all
what
make
am I
sense.
called?
Llamar means to call. And when you say me
So call
llamo,
me.
yeah, I call myself. I call myself, right?
Okay.
What do you call? I call me. And it's like saying I call myself.
Okay,
What
yeah.
I call myself. Instead of saying my name is, that's mi nombre es. Me llamo, I call myself, and then your name. So le
Yeah,
llamo.
my Spanish teacher didn't actually make that very clear.
Oh, well, I don't know. I am like a super, super grammar nerd. Like I love the grammar and I love understanding it. So I think that's why I teach it like that. Not all Spanish teachers share my my love for the grammar, especially, and I'll just keep this between me and you guys, like native speakers, Spanish speakers, because they just know it. Like they just know the answer. They know what should be because that's how they learned it. And I'm not a native speaker. I had to learn it just like you guys. So I think that's why I kind of like to know why things are like that. But now it should all make sense, right? I call myself me llamo, and I call my friend le llamo. I call him or I call her. Antes de salir, before I go out. Okay, muy bien. Let's move on to a few more examples. Mandas un email a Ana. Abigail, who's receiving the action of this verb? Who's receiving the verb?
Anna or Anna.
Ana, sí. Muy bien, to Ana. And what are you going to replace her with?
Le.
Muy bien, go ahead. Mandas un email a Ana?
Sí, le mando.
Perfecto. Sí, le mando un email. Okay. Prestas dinero a tus hermanos. Snejana, who is receiving the action of this verb? Do you lend money to who?
My sister.
Your hermanos is siblings. So sisters, brothers, whatever you got.
Okay.
It's plural though. So what would you replace them with?
Les.
Les, muy bien. So go ahead. ¿Prestas dinero a tus hermanos?
Sí, les presto.
Sí, perfecto. Sí, les presto. Muy bien. I lend them money. Excelente. Madison, ¿compras una chaqueta a tus niños? Who's this verb happening to or for?
Tus niños.
Tus niños. Very good. So what would you replace them with?
Would it be les?
Well, if it's more than one,
Yeah, les.
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 Les. Excelente. So go ahead and answer. ¿Compras una chaqueta a tus niños?
Could you remind me what I'm gonna butcher the pronunciation.
Chaqueta
But
is
yes.
a jacket. Do you buy a jacket for your kids?
Si les compro.
Sí. Les compro una chaqueta. Okay. Muy bien. April Hope, ¿escribes una carta a la clase? Who's this verb happening to or for?
La clase?
La
Oh, no,
clase.
no, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, it
Uh,
happens to the class.
to
Do
the
you
class.
write a letter to the class? So it's happening to the class or for the class. What do you
Okay, so
this class with?
see, the class would just be singular though still, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So le escribo.
Sí, muy bien. Sí, le escribo una carta. Muy bien. Super simple, right? It's just like finding the what, but now instead of finding the what, we're finding the who. Let me see if I have one more example because Tessa didn't get one. Oh, she did. Okay, I got one. Mandas. Oh, I like this example. Mandas dinero a tu profesora, Tessa? Who's this happening to?
Mi profesora.
What are you going to replace her with?
Le.
Muy bien. Go ahead and answer.
Si le mando.
Le mando. Muy bien. ¿Cuánto dinero me mandas? Mucho dinero. ¿Cuántos dólares merezco? How much do I deserve? Le mando dinero. All right. I'm kidding. All right. We're good here. So the next topic for chapter 9 is building on this topic. So if you're feeling a little fuzzy still, no worries, because we're going to continue practicing with this. The next topic is double object pronouns. So yeah, it's exactly what it sounds like. They're going to be sentences that have both direct and indirect objects, both a who and a what. Since you're so good at figuring out what's the what and for who, this is not too hard. Okay, it's really not. It just takes a minute to like stop and think about it. So even if you're really comfortable with finding the who and the what, I encourage you to just take a second, take a minute and ask yourself, what's the what and who's it for? Figure out which pronouns you need for both, and then you can go ahead and answer. So we just talked about the indirect object pronouns. They're on the left. Your choices were me, te, le, nos, os, and les. And that was for who, right? That was for who? Direct object pronouns, we had talked about those back in chapter 7. Those answered the question, the what? And we figured out what's the what. And then we replaced it with one of these pronouns. And now tonight we were figuring out for who or to who, and we replaced them with a pronoun. So this slide right here is where I would say you can go pronoun shopping. Okay, so whenever I say what pronoun would you replace it with, you can come back to the slide, snap a picture if you want, because you know you're going to have to do this in a few minutes when I'm done explaining. For the who, you can choose me, te, le, nos, os, or les, or say, and I'll talk about that in a minute. And for the what, it's going to be either lo, la, los, or las. Okay, so here's how sentences with double object pronouns work. It's going to have a what and a for who. So for example, yo compro un carro para ti. I buy a car for you. I buy a what? The what is car, un carro. I would replace it with lo, because carro is masculine and singular. For who? Who do I buy it for? Well, I buy it for you. So I would replace that with te. For now, we're just going to rewrite it. Eventually, in a few minutes, we're going to answer questions like we did with the other ones, but I'm just showing you how the sentence can take the what and for who and put those pronouns together, and they both go right before the conjugated verb. Yo te lo compro. I buy it. For who? For you. The who comes first and then the what. Every time, always. Te lo compro. I buy it for you. Let's look at another one. Roberto da un lápiz a mí. Robert gives a pencil to me. He gives a what? Un lápiz, which is a masculine noun. He gives it. So we're going to replace lápiz with lo. Who does he give it to? He gives it to me. So we're going to replace it with me. So we'll rewrite that one. Roberto me lo da. He gives it to me. The who comes first, the me comes first, and then the what, and then the verb. Okay, so far so good? Just like what we've been doing, but we're doing both at the same time. Now, here's the one kind of tricky-ish thing about these. You cannot have two pronouns together that start with L. So you cannot have le or les with any of the direct object pronouns because they all start with L. Lo, la, los, or las. So if you ever have a lay or a lace, you have to change it to say. So you cannot have le lo, le la, le los, les, las, los, la, 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 la. When you have that that double L sound happening, your little red flag is gonna pop up and you're gonna change it to say. Se lo, se la, se los, se las. Okay. Tess, are you tired? You've yawned like 437 times tonight.
Yeah, cross country started back up last week, so
You guys
we
run cross
did-
country in the spring too?
No, we do it in the fall, but just because of COVID, our season is like just starting.
Oh, okay.
I'm just so tired. I forgot
I
what it
bet.
was like to like go to school
Do
and do
you-
sports.
Do you practice in the morning or you're just tired from running in the afternoon?
Yeah, we practice from 3 to 5. So,
Mm.
mm.
Yeah, I don't know if people realize that like running or like doing any physical activity can actually make you very sleepy, not just like physically exhausted, but like sleepy. At least it does for me, definitely.
Yeah, no, I'm just so tired.
I hear
because of
ya.
that.
Your body will adjust. It will.
Better.
It will. Oops. Okay. So here's an example of when you would need to do that little switcheroo. Yo doy dinero a mi amigo. So I give money to my friend. I give what? Well, el dinero, which we would replace with lo because it's masculine and singular. To who? A mi amigo. So I'd replace it with le, to him or her, my friend. So if we rewrote this sentence, it would be yo le lo doy, but my little red flag pops up because I can't have those two L pronouns next to each other. So I just changed the first one to say, yo se lo doy. Juan escribe una carta a sus padres. He writes a what? Una carta. We'd replace it with la because it's feminine. Singular. To whom? To his padres. We'd replace padres with les. And we would answer this one. Juan les la escribe. Les la escribe. There's that double L sound. So our red flag pops up. And we change the first one to say, Juan se la escribe. So for me, I think, again, it's really important that you just pause a moment and figure out what's the what and for who. Pick your pronouns, so pronoun shop on that slide, and then ask yourself, can these two pronouns go together? And what I mean by that is, do they both start with L? Because if they both start with L, you have to change the first one, okay? On your chapter 9 grammar quiz, you are going to need to do some that are just indirect object pronouns. So the first section that you're asked to do something like this, you're only needing to figure out for who. And then the next section has double object pronouns. I don't think on your grammar quiz for chapter 9, I put the hints about the what for who, but I definitely did it on your final. So on your final, I actually wrote this, the what for who, the what for who, because I want you to remember to stop, pause, go, okay, what's my what, what's my pronoun? Who's my who and the pronoun? Can these two pronouns go together? I think most people find that pretty helpful. All right, so here's how we're gonna do this. These are in question answer form. So I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna ask you to identify what's the what here, which pronoun would you use for who, which pronoun would you use, and then you're gonna answer it using both pronouns, plop them right before the conjugated verb. Yay. Emily, ¿me compras el pan? What's the what?
El pan.
El pan, and what are you gonna replace el pan with?
Lo.
Lo, excelente. For who? Who do you buy it for?
For me. For me.
Right, the question is, Emily, do you buy me bread? But when you
Oh, you.
answer it,
You.
yeah, when you answer it, you gotta change it to te, right? Remember my little chart from the
Yes.
indirect? When it's me, you change it to te in the answer, right? Do you buy it for me? I buy it for you. Te lo.
Yes,
Are
yes,
they good to go? Can they go next to each other?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're good to go. All right, so go ahead and answer. ¿Me compras el pan?
Do I have to add in the loop before it, or
Mm,
do I just?
that's a yes or no question, so I feel like you should start with either sí or no.
Okay, so sí.
Uh-huh. Now put your pronouns. The who goes first and then the what.
Te lo
Te, lo, and then the verb.
compras.
Put it in the yo form.
Compro.
There you go. Perfect. I buy it for you. Just like that. Te lo compro. I buy it for you. Muy bien, Emily. Tus padres te dan mucho dinero, Daniela? What's the what here?
Dinero.
Dinero. And what are you going to replace dinero with?
Oh, would it be low?
It would be low. Very good. To who?
Tus padres. So would it be me?
Right. The question is asking, do your parents give you a lot of money? So when the question is asking, does this happen to you? Do they give it to you? You're going to answer with
Me.
right? Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. May low. Is it good to go?
Yes.
It's good to go. Go ahead and answer.
See. Well, how do you conjugate Dan?
Dan for tus padres is fine the way it is. It's asking, do your parents give you a lot of money? So in your answer, your parents are still the ones doing the giving. You can leave the verb conjugated for parents.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay. So it would be si me lo dan.
Me lo dan. Perfect. They give it, the money, to me. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. On second thought, looking at that one, maybe I shouldn't have given you guys a question where somebody else is doing the verb, because all of the other ones you've been putting it in the yo form, and I didn't mean to confuse you by that. So I'll look before we get off Language Lab tonight to see how these are formatted on your grammar quiz. Like I said, I know on your final, everything is there for you and you just need to plop the pronouns in there. But I want to make sure that I know exactly that I tell you exactly what you can expect on your quiz. So don't leave tonight before I let you know.
It makes sense, like once you explained it.
Explained it, yeah.
Like you could say that before about like who's doing it or who's.
Right. And that's, yeah.
I just forgot because there's a lot of things.
Yeah, I know. And that's why I try, like when I'm introducing a new grammar concept, to keep everything else really the same. Like if they're all asked in the to form, then I want you to always answer in the yo form, because that's not, I want you to practice using the pronouns. So, like I said, on second thought, I kind of want to keep these all the same, asking in the you form and you answer in the yo form, to form, I mean. Elijah, ¿escribes una carta a tus padres? What's the what?
Escribes.
Nope, that's the verb.
Oh, una carta.
You write what?
A letter. Una carta.
Una carta. What are you going to replace it with?
It would be lo.
Nope, it's feminine. La.
Okay.
All right, la. To who? Who do you write it to?
Mi padres.
Mis padres. What are you going to replace that with?
Los.
Les.
Les.
Les for them, right? Because you need an indirect first, because it's a person. So, so your pronouns are les la. Are those good to go? Les la.
No.
Les la. Le la la.
Needs to be say la.
Say la. Very good. Okay. So you're gonna put c'est la in your answer. And then your verb is gonna be over here, this verb in the yo form.
Escribo.
Muy bien. Se lo escribo. Perfecto. Sí, se lo escribo. See that? See how Elijah noticed that the two L pronouns could not go together, so he changed the first one to say? Muy bien. ¿Quién te da esa revista? Daniel, what's the what? A revista, by the way, is a magazine. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that vocabulary word, but a revista is a magazine. What's the what?
Revista
What would you replace
or
it with?
esa Rita? La.
La, muy bien. To who?
To you, because
To you. Yep. And who do you answer for?
would it be answering to somebody? So like I read the magazine or that way. What's that?
It's not asking if you read it. It says, who gives you the magazine? Who gives you the magazine? So who do you answer for?
So I'd be answering for myself. They gave me the magazine.
Right. So gave it
Hey.
to me.
Me.
Right. Remember when the question,
So
when the question is the verb happens to you, the answer is it happens to me, and vice versa. When it happens to you, it happens to me, it happens. Does this happen to me? Yeah, it happens to you. Or if it happens to you, yes, it happens to me. So this is asking who gives you.
So they gave it to me. So
Right. So just make up a person. This is not a great question because it's like, who gives it to you? Who gives you the magazine?
can I just say he, or should I just come up with a name for the answer?
Yeah, Bob.
Roberto.
Bob is like me too.
Roberto de.
So your pronouns are may
Or
and
Bob,
la.
sure.
Are those good to go right next to each other?
Yeah.
Yes. So may, la, da. Da is conjugated for Bob. Me la da. He gives it to
Okay.
me. That was a confusing one too, I think, a little bit. I'm gonna go back and change all of these to questions in the to form so that you can always answer in the yo form. I think that's easier for you guys. Abigail, ¿me traes el periódico? What's the what?
Periodical.
And what are you gonna replace el periódico with?
Law. Oh wait,
Which
no.
one?
Wait. Oh gosh, what's the it again? Isn't it? Okay.
It's either lo, la, los, or las.
Low.
Correct. To who? Who's it happening to?
Yourself.
It's happening to May. So which pronoun are you going to use in the answer?
The yo form. Right.
Which
Oh, wait.
pronoun? If the question is happening to me, you need to use te in the answer.
Okay.
So this question is asking, do you bring me the newspaper? And if you're going to answer, you're going to say, yes, I bring you, or I bring it to you. So that's why you have to change the me to te.
Okay. Yeah. I still think I'm getting used to that.
Yeah.
So
Te lo, can that go together?
yeah.
Yes.
So te lo doy.
Good. Te, lo, I'll accept doy. This verb is,
Oh, I
daigo.
don't know. If I did, but-
That's fine. It's the same. I give it to you, I bring it to you. Perfect. I would totally give you credit for that. Compras comida para tu amigo. Snejana, what's the what here?
Comida,
Uh-huh, very good. What are you gonna replace comida with?
la,
Muy bien. To who?
to my friend, so le.
Very good. So your pronouns are le, la. Is that good to go?
No, I'd have to change it to say.
Very good. Say. So say, la, and here's the verb.
Compro.
Compro. Perfecto. I think there's a lot more questions like this one and less like these two. Compras una chaqueta para tu hijo. We just saw this question. We saw this with the indirects. It was hijos, but everything else was the same. Compras una chaqueta para tu hijo. Madison, what's the what here?
Chaquita.
What are you going to replace it with?
I'm going to replace it with la.
For who?
Tu hijo.
Hijo, very good. And what would you replace hijo with? Which pronoun?
Le.
Le, very good. So you have le, la. Are those good to go together?
No, it has to be replaced with se.
Perfect. Go ahead and answer.
Would I start with my adjective or start with the pronoun?
You start with the pronouns. You start with the who and then the what, always.
Would it be se la compro?
Sí, se la compro.
I have a question about that.
Yep,
Is the se always going to come before the following pronoun?
yes, always. Yep, the who always comes first. Good job. April Hope, buscas un hotel para tus padres. What's the what here? What are you looking for?
Un hotel, a hotel.
Un hotel. What are you going to replace it with?
Lo.
For who?
Tus padres.
What are you going to replace them with?
Les, but it's a double L, so I will replace with se.
Perfect. Go ahead and answer. Buscas un hotel para tus padres?
Sí, se lo busco.
Perfect. Se lo busco. Again, it's easier when the verb is in the to form. Mandas las cartas a todos tus amigos, Tessa? What's your what?
Las cartas.
Las cartas. What are you going to replace them with?
Las.
Muy bien. To who?
Mi amigos. So it would be les, but then change it to se.
Good job. Se and las. Go ahead and answer.
Si se las mando.
Perfect. Se las mando. Okay, you guys, if you felt like the examples on the previous slide were a little confusing, it's okay. Don't worry so much about those. These are the kind that I want you to be able to do for your grammar quiz. Really simple, where the verb's in the to form, you're gonna find the what and for who, figure out which pronouns you would use to replace it with, and then answer simply by putting those pronouns together. Check to see if they can go together. Nobody has made a mistake on that. Everybody's been really good about noticing when there's two L sounds next to each other. Change the first one to say, and then put the verb in the yo form, okay? I promise you they're gonna be more like this and not like the ones where somebody else is doing the verb or if it's happening to you or to me, because that gets a little confusing. Okay, I will promise to look at the actual quiz before I let you go. But does everybody feel pretty comfortable with this kind?
Yeah, I feel pretty good about it.
Yeah.
Good. Awesome. So then we're going to move on to the last grammar topic for chapter 9, which are the mandatos, the commands. So we started some commands in Spanish 121. We learned the affirmative informal commands, which is basically telling somebody that you're very familiar with, like a friend or a family member, to do something. And I said, if you have a parent or if you know a parent, which most of you probably know or are a parent, this is parenting summed up. Like, pick up your laundry, eat your vegetables, do your homework, go to bed, get dressed, tie your shoes, clean your room. That's all affirmative commands. Do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. In the informal form, because in Spanish, when you make a command to somebody that you would speak to in the usted form, it's a different formula. So this was review. The way you make an informal command, an affirmative informal command, is you take the to form of the verb and you drop the S. So habla, limpia, baila, come, escribe. Just take the to form of the verb and drop the S off. It becomes a command. Then I said there were a couple of irregular ones. Vin Diesel has 10 weapons was the sentence. Ven, di, sal, as, ten, ve, pon, and se. Ven, di, sal, as, ten, ve, pon, se. Chapter 9 shows us how to make negative to commands. So basically telling somebody don't, verb, don't eat that, don't touch that, don't go there, don't do that, don't sing, don't eat, don't dance, don't whatever. To make a negative to command, you are going to take the opposite ending. So what I mean by the opposite endings is if you have an AR verb, you're going to take the ending for ER, IR verb to the to form of the ER, IR verbs, basically S. So, and you're going to put ES on the end of a verb, on the end of an AR verb. So, no comas, no bailas, I'm sorry, no comes, no bailes, no tomes, which is any AR verb that you can think of, you drop the ending and add ES. So if you have an AR verb to make a negative to command, you add ES. For ER and IR verbs, you take the AR2 ending, which is as. No escribas. No bebas, no comas, no corras. Don't run, no corras. Okay? So far, so good. All right. For making commands in the usted form, you're going to take that opposite ending, the opposite AR verb, the opposite ER, IR verb, but then you drop the S, which I forgot to write on this slide. Drop the S. So for example, the verb to sing is canta. The command for an usted would be cante. The verb to dance is bailar. The command for an usted would be baile. The verb to write, escribir. The command for an usted, escriba. So you're taking that opposite ending, but then you drop the S off of it. So just like the negative to commands, but then you get rid of the S. The nice thing about usted commands is it's the same for affirmative and negative. So whether you're telling an usted, do it, eat, dance, work, clean, or don't do it, don't eat, don't dance, don't work, don't clean. It's the same. You just put a no before it. So sing, cante. Don't sing, no cante. Dance, baile. Don't dance, no baile. Write, escriba. Don't write, no escriba. Okay, so whereas the to form, the to commands is kind of a different formula for the affirmative and the negative. Usted commands are this, it's the same. So
So with the informal, we don't drop the S, but with the formal, we do.
Correct.
Okay.
-2 commands are the only commands with an S on the end.
-2.
-2 commands are the only ones with an S. Okay. So this is just like a little spelling rule. I don't even, it's not that super important to me. But remember when we were learning preterite tense verbs and I said if it ends in a kargar or zar, because you're changing these AR endings to have an E after these consonants, you have to take a spelling change. So you can't have something that ends in CE. You have to end it in QUE. And you can't have something ending in GE. You have to end it in GUE. And you can't end something in ZE. It has to change to a C. So those same spelling changes, it's just like a spelling rule, happen with commands because again, and this is another instance where an AR verb is changing its ending to an E, and you can't have an E next to those consonants without making a little spelling change. Listen, if you're totally lost when I'm talking about that little spelling change, ignore it. Because if you misspell the commands, I'm not gonna be mad at you, okay? Still love you, it's not a big deal to me. If you follow what I'm saying, or if you notice that this, for some reason, just doesn't look right, and you remember, oh, I can't have, that doesn't say Sussex, because you're trying to maintain that hard pronunciation rule, that you need to have it like that. That's cool. Spell it correctly. But if you write this as your answer, I'll give it to you. Okay. Here's a chart. These are the endings to add to different verbs to make different commands. For me, I would not be able to memorize this chart. I had to memorize the rules, but some people really like charts and find this easier. So I made it for you. If you have an AR verb and you're making an affirmative to command, end it with a negative to command, end it with es. The usted commands both end with e. For ER and IR verbs, affirmative to commands end with e, negative to commands end with as, both usted commands end with a. Okay. So let's make some commands. You're going to give some people some advice. You're going to tell them what to do. All right. So if somebody says, tengo muchas ganas de comer comida china, I really feel like eating Chinese food, right? You're going to tell them, eat Chinese food. All right. Give them the command to eat. So I don't want you to overthink these. Just grab whatever that is that they want to do and tell them to do it. So Emily, if you want to tell somebody eat Chinese food, first tell us how you would tell them in the to form, like if this person is your friend.
Tell someone I know to eat Chinese
Yeah,
food?
you're going to use the verb comer. Make comer into a command.
Okay. Into a command. Sorry, this is all really confusing for me.
That's okay. I understand. Plus, I went kind of fast through it. So I'm going to put the rules up here so you can look.
Okay.
If you're making a to command, actually, for AR verbs, is comer an AR verb, ER verb, or IR verb?
An ER verb.
Right. So for AR verbs, the to form, and for AR verbs, you add a. And for usted, you add a. For ER and IR verbs, for to, you add a. And for usted, oops, you add a. Do you see how it's like opposite endings?
Yeah. So would I have to
So-
say coma or
Sí.
coma? Yeah. Okay.
Yep. So if you're telling somebody eat, it would be come.
Okay. Oh, you want me to say it again?
No, I was just checking my rules to make, because I don't usually say it like that. So I say take the to form and drop the s. What's the to form of the verb comer?
The to form of the verb comes.
Right, it's comes and then drop the s. Come.
Okay.
For the usted form, you just take the opposite ending. So usted coma.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, like I said, let's not overthink this. Quiero quedar en un hotel lujoso. So I want to stay in a luxury hotel. Tell this person, stay. In the to form, Daniela, this one's for you. Use the verb quedar, stay.
Would it be quede?
The to form is just the to form of the verb quedas and then drop the s. Queda.
Queda
The usted form is the opposite of that.
will be quede.
Quede, right?
Okay.
Queda or quede.
you-
Necesito, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry. So you only do the opposite for the usted form, or if two.
You do it for the negative to form and both the
Negative,
usted forms. Get the affirmative to command is to form drop the s.
Okay.
I'm a rule memorizer, so like I said, that chart confused me personally. But some people like can look at the chart and just memorize the chart. I just don't think that's wouldn't be how I memorize it. I know the rules. So necesito cambiar dinero. I need to change money. Elijah, tell this person change money. Use the verb cambiar.
Cambier.
Not for tú. To form of the verb and drop the s.
Oh, cambia.
Cambia. Whoops. Yep. And then the usted form is the opposite.
Cambier.
Cambié. Good. Tengo ganas de beber algo. I feel like drinking something. Daniel, tell me to drink in the to form and the usted form.
Bebe,
Uh-huh.
and then beba.
Perfect. Bebe, usted beba. Very good. Like I said, once you realize that you shouldn't think about it too much, it gets a little easier. Abigail, necesito comprar regalos para mi familia. Tell me to buy presents. Use the verb comprar. ¿Tú?
Oh gosh, sorry. Thinking this through.
Don't think about it too much. The to form of the verb comprar, then drop the s.
Compra.
Uh-huh. And then the usted is going to be the opposite ending.
Compre.
Perfect. Compra, compre. Necesito confirmar nuestro vuelo. I need to confirm our flight. Najana, tell me to confirm it. Use the verb
I
confirmar.
don't read it anymore.
Confirmar
Uh-huh.
and then confirme.
Perfect. See? Oops. Confirme. If I can spell it right. There you go. Quiero tomar sol en la playa. I want to sunbathe. Madison, tell me sunbathe. Use the verb tomar.
For two would be coma or
Uh-huh.
toma,
Toma. Eat the
And
sun.
then-
No, don't eat the sun.
and then tome.
Tome. Sí. Necesito buscar una tienda de comida. April Hope, tell me to look for it.
Busca,
Uh-huh. And usted?
busque.
Perfect. So if I wrote that, would that look right to you?
No, let's see. See,
Does that look right to you?
usque, yeah,
Yeah.
like with a QU, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know that it doesn't look right, but that's because I've been doing this for a long time. It might look right to you. So if you spelled it B-U-S-C-E, I'd be okay with that, but it is spelled B-U-S-Q-U-E. Okay, so affirmative 2 commands, you take the 2 form, drop the S. Negative or affirmative usted commands, you just take the opposite ending and drop the S. Oops, I don't know what I just said. Okay. Now I'm gonna go back really quickly, even though I know we're finishing really quickly. Tengo muchas ganas de comer comida china, but you know I shouldn't eat it because Chinese food always makes me so sick. So tell me, don't eat it. Don't eat it. Tessa, the negative commands are both opposite endings, but the 2 command keeps the S on it and you said does not.
So it would be no comas
Uh-huh. And the you said would be,
and then no coma.
there you go. See? Perfect.
So big.
Quiero quedar en un hotel lujoso, but I'm broke as a joke. So tell me, don't stay. Don't stay in a luxury hotel. Emily, back to you. We're going to use the verb quedar still, but we're going to use it in the negative form.
Okay, I'm just pulling up the ending notes.
Yes.
No quedes.
Uh-huh.
With an S.
No quedes.
Quedes, sorry, quedes. And then no quedas. Oh, quede.
No quede. Right? Both of the negatives are the opposite of the type of verb. So if it's an AR verb, they're both going to use the E, but the negative 2 command has the S on it, and the negative usted command, you just get rid of the S. No quedes, no quede. Necesito cambiar dinero. No, you don't. I got plenty of money for both of us. Elijah, tell me, don't change money.
No cambias.
Nope, take the opposite ending. So cambiar is an AR
Cambies.
verb. Right, no cambies. Or usted.
No cambia.
Nope, it's the
Oh,
same,
okay.
just drop the S.
Okay, no cambie.
Right, no cambies, no cambie. Tengo ganas de beber algo. I have a drinking problem. Tell me don't drink. Don't drink. Daniel, say it.
Bebas
No bebas.
or no beba. Beba.
No beba.
Said it weird.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. No bebas, no beba. Muy bien. Necesito comprar regalos para mi familia. Abigail, tell me don't. I don't know why. I can't think of a good reason. Just tell me not to. So comprar is your verb.
Okay. To know. To know compress.
Uh-huh. And usted.
No compra. Oh wait, no, that's not. Oh gosh.
So the usted is exactly the same, just drop the S at the end.
Oh, compre.
There you go. No compres or usted no compre. All right, muy bien. Snezana, necesito confirmar nuestro vuelo. Tell me not to confirm it.
Confirmes.
Uh-huh.
And then usted no confirme.
Perfect. No confirme. Muy bien. Madison, I want to sunbathe. Sunbathe is actually very bad for your skin. Tell me not to do it.
No tomes and no tome.
Perfect. Usted no tome. Very good. And tell me not to look for a food store, April Hope.
No busques
Mhm.
and no busque.
Usted no busque. Perfect. Whoops. Okay. With these, with the mandatos, I really think the best advice I can give you is figure out a way that you can memorize it that makes sense for your brain. Because like I said, for me, I had to learn the rules. Like I had to be like, okay, the to form, affirmative to, take the to form, drop the S, negative to, you keep the opposite ending, drop the S, keep the S. The rules in my head are correct. Ignore my rules. Tessa, are you okay? Oh, there's another yawn. Oh, somebody chatted with me.
Just really tired.
Oh, you want me to go back to the slide with the chart? I could do that. This one, oops. This one?
Yes, thank you.
Sure. And then do you guys have any other questions about chapter 9? So it's indirect object pronouns, the who, the double object pronouns, the who for what, the what for who, I'm sorry, the what for who, and then the commands. I'm gonna go check out the quiz for the grammar quiz for chapter 9 so I can make sure that I can tell you the format of those questions. And I'm happy to answer any other questions you guys have about anything. Abby, you done?
Almost, I need a little bit longer.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Not really about class right now, but do you know yet about next quarter?
About Spanish 123?
Yeah.
So I think I shared with you guys that my class is suppressed. So the other instructor's class needs to fill up before they'll open my class. And it's at like 23 out of 25 seats are taken. So it's really close. Whether or not they'll open my section like the minute he has 25, or if like he needs to have a wait list going, I don't really know. I know exactly how it works. As of right now, today, March 1st, my section is not open. But there's still 3 weeks before spring quarter starts, right? 1, 2, 3, actually 4 weeks. I guess it starts on the 29th, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 weeks. So, I mean, there's still time for some more people to register. We'll see. Okay, so she's done. Whilst I'm not sharing my screen, because I don't want you guys to see the quiz, I'm just gonna open it up real quick. If you're not interested in what's on the quiz, you don't have to stick around. We're officially done with Language Lab for Spanish 122. But if you want to know how the questions are formatted, hang out a minute while I log into our class. Are there any other questions I can field while I log in and get the quiz up? Okay. Sorry, it's taking a long time. Ooh, I'm so sorry. Do you guys ever feel like whenever you call like somewhere and end up on customer service, I feel like it's inevitable that the person on the other end of the phone is always like, my computer's being so slow every single time, or, oh, our system just went down every single time.
That's because that's always how it happens. Oh my gosh, that happens to me like 4 times a week at work, somebody calls me and they're like, "Oh, hey, do you have this data that you can pull for me really quick?" And every time it's like,
Every
my
time
computer just is like,
your computer just
never
is slow.
mind.
Is it always slow or just in the moment when you need it to
No,
like?
just in the moment when I need it. And I think it's mental though, because you feel like, you're like,
Because
oh, this person's
yes,
waiting,
because these
this
people are
person's waiting. Yeah.
waiting. Exactly. Exactly. Okay. On the quiz, all you have to do for the indirect object pronoun questions are place the indirect object into the blank. So in other words, the verb is already there for you. All you need to do is ask yourself, for who? And then replace that person with a pronoun. And so your answers are going to be either me, te, le, nos, os, or les. All right. You do not have to figure out the verb or anything. For the double object pronouns, I did give you a hint. It's a question. I wrote what for who? And again, the verb is there for you. So all you need to do is plop the 2 pronouns into the blank in the correct order. For those, you do need to, like I said, the verb is there, so you don't have to mess with that, but you do need to ask yourself, okay, did they both end with L or did they both start with L? Do they both start with L? Do I hear a la 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 sound? And if they do, change the first one to say. All right, there's only 15 questions on the entire grammar quiz. There's 5 just indirect. There's 5 direct or double object pronouns, and then there's 5 commands. The commands are in English and you need to translate them to Spanish. But things like don't look, don't sleep, speak, and go to bed. Those may or may not be the actual questions. That's what you guys get for coming to Language Lab Live. Language Lab, the real thing. You get little hints. Okay. Do you guys understand how the questions are for the pronouns? So you do not need to even worry about the verbs. All you have to do is figure out the right pronoun and put it in the blank. All right. I've never felt so boring in my life, Tessa. I'm sorry. I know you're tired. I know you're tired.
No, it's not you.
I know.
I'm just sleepy.
I know. No, I understand. Okay, well, you guys have until March 12th, so you have the next 2 weeks to complete the assignments, but there's not a lot of them. So, feel free to complete them early so that I can get my grading started and completed. I would love that. And then the final is due, I think, on the 17th, one of those days, 17th. Right? I am totally here for you right up until the end. So if you have any questions, if you want me to look at your capstone, if you watch the final exam review video and you want more information about what's on it, you know me by now. I don't like to keep those things a secret from you. So please ask. And I'm always so happy to help you or give you answers. I really want you guys to do well. That's why I teach like this. That's my whole purpose. I want you to feel successful and like it's doable. Si se puede. That's a good question. How long is the final? It's short. There's 25 vocabulary questions, which are multiple choice, just like they have been all in the chapters. And then there's maybe 25 grammar questions that are like short answers. There is an essay. And I tell you all of this in the video, but there is an essay that you have to write. I'll just go ahead and tell you that you're going to need to write in the imperfect. So it talks about your childhood. And you may need to specify some things that happened like one time in your life as opposed to many times or habitually in your life about your childhood. So, and then the rest is just grammar stuff. conjugate some verbs, fill in some blanks. There's 2 questions with that assay, the amount of time K, structure. Yeah. All right. Hopefully you guys had a good quarter and feel like you've learned. And you know, you're still learning. You still have chapter 9, but hopefully you had a good experience. I will hopefully see some of you next quarter, although I have no idea. Honestly, I really don't. This usually I can tell pretty quickly, like, oh yeah, like my section will be opened or not. But at this point, I think it could go either way. So
If your section does open, will you shoot us an email?
yeah, I can email you guys right up until the end of this class in Canvas. So
Right,
I
right.
was
Oh, yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah, like if this
Yeah, if it's
class
after
is
that.
after that, but I think there's, if it hasn't opened by, you know, March 18th or whatever the end date, March 19th of this class, then I don't think it would open. So if you want me to let you know, I will. Yeah. Hey guys, my section opened if anybody's interested in taking Spanish 123. I'll just say it like that.
Por favor, sí.
Okie dokie. All right. Well, have a great rest of your week and lovely weekend. Nothing is due this weekend, so hang out, have fun, relax.
Thank
See you
you.
next week. Adios.
Bye. Enjoy the rest
Oh,
of
I
your
won't
you.
see you next week. No, we won't. Kidding. No more language labs. Adios. We're done. Bye.
Thank you so
Adios.
much.
Adios.
Thank you.
De nada.